Hello, welcome back to the HSA Podcast, where the gossip is just as good as the food. My name is Derek Herrera Diaz. I am a computer science major, and this is my sophomore year at CBU.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Amarado. I am a sophomore accounting major.
Hey everybody, my name is Justin Cano Manuel Rodriguez. I don't know how you want to say that, but I am a freshman from here, I guess, and my major is history.
Everybody, I'm Edgar Granados Perez. I am a senior. I study computer science with a minor in biology and concentration in electrical engineering.
Well, very busy man. All right, so we're going to talk about, obviously, we got a huge opportunity. I don't know everyone here's under the Dream Scholarship, but shout out to the Dream Scholarship.
I love the Dream Scholarship, man. I wouldn't be in college if it wasn't without it.
Right. That's how I'm here. And so, Elizabeth, you're just like really intelligent. You're at the university.
I'm just here.
Yeah, but obviously we're all first generation students, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about why we decide to go to college, because that's obviously a huge question. If you're not from the country, you could very easily get a hands-on job. So I come from a family of bakers. I could have very easily been a baker, and I could have been making bread like that, literally and figuratively.
I mean, it's funny you say that, making bread. I mean, no, and I agree. No, for me, college, a lot of people who've met me, college was a last-minute decision. I didn't. I wanted to, and I got accepted at the University of Michigan, University of Stanford, but due to our situation, and during the time 2019, there wasn't such thing as Golden Door Scholarship, so I didn't have that opportunity to apply at that moment. And it really came out of nowhere. Like I didn't have anybody. I didn't have people in my family or friends who went to college with the same situation with DACA.
Yeah.
And I literally was just up one night and I was just like, hey, I might just go do it. I mean, I'll go study. And that's a lot of situation for a lot of people who don't have connections, because that's the one thing that it could change your class. It could literally make you from, a lower social class. I don't like saying that, but that's how it is. You got to face reality to the next level, right? And what made me change was literally, it wasn't even me. It would be my mom. And that's a big thing, especially if you're in Hispanic culture, is your mom. Your mom is, it's compared to the American culture, that the maternal figures are the majority. And she was the one who convinced me and said, I don't care what you do, just apply, try. You're a very smart kid. I know I was already gonna work as a technician. I used to fix phones. That's how I made my bread in high school and later years. That's how I would just be like, hey guys, I'll fix your phone for you. Pop, 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 boom. Yeah. And even when I was entering college, I was fixing phones for You Break I Fix. Yeah. Small company in Sharia. I don't know if you guys know about them, but
shouts out. Shouts out.
Yeah, a little shout out. I don't know. It's an insurance company. You know how they are, but that's how it came to be. It was literally by luck. Luck was the reason why I'm in college to now. And I didn't even enter college as a computer science student. I mean, that's a big thing we could talk about later. Is that I was actually entered as a biology student studying pre-med.
Right.
Okay. Hey. So and my technical background, so it was crazy, but it was all by the grace of God and luck and my mom. Yeah. I'm sounding like a rapper right now, but
honestly.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah.
All right, well, it was great what you said. My story went a little different than this. So I first started doing many jobs. When I was 9 years old, I started selling lunches. So even construction sites, you sell out lunches and you're like that lady who screams. That was my mom, by the way. She would scream about the lunches. And, I was the bus boy. I said, here you go. You pay me this, you give me that. Yeah. So that's how it started. And through time, I came here when I was 9 years old. And I think it was a sort of different experience because my mom said, we're going on vacation, to Disneyland. And I was excited because it's a vacation. Right. But what a long vacation it turned out to be. Like about 9 years on this vacation. But it's still enjoyable, So when I started that, I didn't do good on third grade. In elementary, I was the worst person, I didn't care about my school. I hated grades. I didn't even show my mom the grades. Nothing. She didn't find out none of this until I just graduated. I know.
That's a great secret.
I could not hold it out.
No, that's actually crazy that you say that, because I was the opposite. I cared about college. Even always known that I was undocumented, right?
Yeah.
But my mom, she forced college onto me since like second grade. So I was the opposite.
I tell you, my mom was also a teacher, and so my mom already had a college degree, so she also understands. Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah.
Wow.
Both of my parents did not. My mom attended high school, didn't graduate. My dad, I think the highest is 8th grade.
Yeah.
That's education.
Similar over here.
Yeah.
That turns out to be the situation. That was my dad too. My dad left middle school.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a little bit in the background too, and I mean, I guess we could go to the second topics with this, but my dad served in the military, and back in Mexico, my dad era Guardia Presidencial, which is Presidential Guard.
Yeah.
Back in the homeland. So we have quite a mix of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never been to Disneyland too, by the way. I still want to go at this age.
We can go one.
We'll see, man. It's expensive. I
Yeah.
just bought a car, man.
Yeah.
I'm in debt, bro.
No, but yeah.
What made you go to college, though?
Well, this is where I'm getting at because I had a lot of jobs. I used to do pillows. I used to sew pillows.
Wow.
I used to be a party decorator, so I used to do decorations for
Yeah.
parties, cooking. I did many little things. So
you did everything under the umbrella,
not everything.
metaphorically.
Yeah, metaphorically. So, and I thought, well, I don't need college. I pretty much, do whatever I can. Who gives a crap about college, right?
Right.
But then I started thinking about it more. Am I really gonna be doing this, for the rest of my life? Do I really feel happy with what I'm doing?
Right.
And even my mom and I got into this conversation because I'm close to my mom, and she said, "Well, just think about it. Do you really want to be doing this? Because I first wanted to be a nurse, but I changed my career, and then I had you because she had me at 19, and having someone 19 and being at college like that, I admire her for that. She
Oh my
really
gosh,
did
yes.
a lot. And the more I thought about it, the more I said it. So thanks to us, a Catholic school, Sacred Heart,
Mhm.
we found out about the school and specifically at Fatima. You remember Fatima? Yeah. So we found out about her, and she told us about the dream opportunity. And I said, give it a shot. So I did. I applied to many scholarships too, and I was getting stressful at that moment because to my status, to who I am, that will say they have those asterisks that I just hate to know because it will say you can't apply if you're not resident or if you're a U.S. citizen or if you're nothing like that. You can't apply. So I was like, man. But we worked it out, and thank goodness for the Dream Scholarship because I got this full ride. I got this open door opportunity. That's why it's called Golden Door.
That's what it is. It changes your life.
Yeah. And I'm just proud of that. So it changed my whole viewpoint. So in high school, I started working more in grades. In high school, I started building up. I went from a 3.0 GPA to a 4.0 GPA in just 2 years. So that's great for my part.
Yeah.
Kudos to you.
Absolutely.
Kudos to you.
Very good. That's actually kind of, I have a different point of view. So when I was in high school, I started to care less and less of school. I was a really good student up until high school.
Really?
Yeah, high school was like when I was giving up. And then when I realized that I was making money just having another job, especially I was a waiter in the mornings and then I worked at night. So I had 2 jobs. So over the summer, I made a decent amount of money. And I was like, if I can keep doing this, I feel like I can be financially stable. And I was ready to give up on college. On the first year I went to college, which was during the pandemic, it was very unintuitive. So I was like, I don't think I'm doing this. I was ready to drop out. I was like, this is not for me. My mom, obviously, shout out to my mom. She was like, you have to, because I think you're pretty gifted. And I didn't think I was, to be honest. I was like, I'm an average student. It's whatever. And so, but I went here. I still have aspirations to be a teacher, but I switched over to computer science. Turns out I'm pretty good at computer science. So I'm sticking with it right now. And hopefully, I still don't know what I'm doing, don't know where I want to end up. I don't think no one really knows until you end up there.
Yeah.
So, but I think I have a skill and a knack for computer science, so we're going to see what happens.
Dude, the way that you said that, man, is I can relate to that on the same level because, and I actually, our advisor, Jackie, she experienced this too. So for me, like I told you, growing up undocumented and knowing this is what my future holds, right? And, not a lot of people, especially Americans, they don't realize, the opportunities they have as just Americans. You don't have to worry about how you're going to sign up. You don't have to worry about Social Security being asked as a question. You don't have to worry about healthcare, all of that stuff, right, that you get for being, a legalized resident. And for me, I actually, by the time 10th grade came up, I was like strong. I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm smart. I'm smarter than everybody else. I know my things. I'm on top of everything. But 10th grade, you get hit with reality. I mean, life hit me hard that year. And I had to realized I'm just like, why am I trying so hard if I'm never going to get it? I get that give up moment. I'm just like, you know what, forget it. And that's what happened to me. I gave up. My GPA went from my 4.0 to 2.8 that year. I mean, by the time I graduated, it was a 3.8 again. But like, still, you grow up with that mentality. When you get into college, and you're just like, whoa, it's completely different, completely different environment. But I feel that, man. Like, it's hard, and it's the people behind you that really motivate you, and that's what I found out. If it wasn't for my mom's, I don't know. And funny enough, that's the one you have the most conflict with is the one who motivates you the most.
Oh my gosh, that is.
You know why you have so much conflict with your mom? Because you're alike.
And it's probably, and that's what a lot of people say. They say it's like, and believe it or not, my mom is, even though she didn't go past high school, she is intelligent. And she's an intelligent woman. And so is my dad. They're quick-witted. My dad's quick-witted. My mom is patient when she comes to thinking. So when I got the mix of both worlds. So I'm quick-witted, but then I'm patient with my decision at the same time. So it always makes, when I speak, sound logical. But it's from them. It's from that mentality. But yeah, I agree, man. It's tough realizing that who you want to be and who you are. And the same with, ironically enough, we both have computer science. When I was in biology, in that environment, I was arrogant. I'm just like, everybody.
And I could speak to that part.
No,
literally. So mine's like a whole another world from you guys. I'm not a DACA recipient, so I cannot relate to you guys. I born and raised here, absolutely love it. Except for what's going on right now. I have always just been this really strong, like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I don't care what happens. I'm going to do this.
Hard-headed.
Yes, I'm stubborn, hard-headed. And I think that's what my mom really likes in me. She's like, you set your heart, your soul, and your mind to this, and you can accomplish this. And I said, fine, bet. I'm going to do this, not only for myself, but to prove people I'm different. So all throughout elementary, I got academic honor roll. I got all these medals, and middle school hit, and it just like middle school changes people.
I agree.
Middle school changes people. High school came, graduated with my 3.897 GPA. Have my little honors endorsement sticker on my diploma, and it sits on my desk, and I'm like, I'm going to do it. So when I started applying to colleges, like my GPA was at 3.5. It was all right. So I started applying, and I kept getting yeses. And I was like, well, where am I going to end up? And my mom hired another counselor because my college counselor at my school just absolutely messed up my Vanderbilt application. So I was waiting for my yes acceptance, not trying to brag, but I was waiting for an acceptance to Vanderbilt, and it got messed up completely. So that was one less college I had to worry about. But my mom hired a separate counselor, and she was like, I think you would be really good at CBU. And keep in mind, born and raised here, you just want to get the heck out of this. You're like, forget this, I'm out. And she was like, pushing towards me to go into CBU. I was like, you know what? I'll look into it. I'll apply. And if I get, yes, then we'll see from there. So I get my yes acceptance letter, and this is like my third acceptance letter. And I'm like, okay, then what the heck? Like, what do I do? And one day I get a mail, and it's like, here's your financial aid package. And it's like $550 that my mom has to pay for a semester. And I'm like, crap, okay, this is making me more confident. And so I'm like screaming and shouting and crying, and I'm like, I'm a buck, I got this. And so freshman year of college, I came here obviously, but I was originally a natural science major with a pre-op, so I wanted to be an eye doctor. Took my basic biology and chemistry, and I said, this is not for me. Because I've always had background in numbers, because my dad owns a tree cutting company, and I saw the behind the scenes. So I got to deal with estimates, invoices, putting everything in a Excel sheet. So that was just what I went with. So that's why I'm an accounting major now, because I absolutely love dealing with numbers. I like seeing how it goes from this number to this number and what all goes in between. So, I mean, my mom was pushing for it. She's a single mom of 3, including me. And so shout out to my mom for not only fighting for me, but fighting for my siblings. My brother is a sophomore in high school, so he's up next year for applying to colleges. So we'll see where he ends up.
He decides to go.
Exactly.
No, but that hard-headedness, that stubbornness comes the same way. You know, it can be a double-edged sword sometimes.
Exactly.
So I get that because, you know, I feel everyone has experienced that before. Like, you're so stubborn with your damn decision, right? You won't really want to go at that, but then it ends up, you know, shooting you back in the face. Or can...
No, for me, no, that's how I am. That's how I was, actually. I don't say... I've learned over the past couple of years, it's been a while that, and I think it's really just life that grinds it down, right? They say life is the greatest artist. It chisels the sculpture that you are, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, being stubborn was chiseled at. It was something I was just like, oh, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to be. But then I started doing something that a lot of people struggle with, and that's listening, hearing in other people, right? Like, Elizabeth, your backstory, as a DACA recipient, we tend to be like, oh, this is just us. It's just our situation, right? But we don't realize that even though we see Americans, like, we're like, oh, they have all this opportunity, but they also struggle with that. They also struggle with the amount of money, loans. You know, sure, they'll get into college. They can choose wherever they want. But, you know, they get into the idea of loans and all of that. And that all comes with listening. If you don't listen, you'll never learn. And having to listen to myself, and this is a big part because when I got into college my first year, I started to feel a little bit down because I wasn't doing something I was passionate about. Exactly. And I had to search really deep inside of me to figure out that computer science is probably what I should have done.
That's exactly what happened to me because I was originally not an accounting major. I had to sit my mom down and tell her, look, I cannot do this. This is not me. I can't see myself doing this.
Even me, when it comes to my parents' opinions, like, I didn't even tell them. I did it. That's the thing about me. I make my decisions quick and sound. If I'm able to convince me, I feel like I'm able to convince the world, right? So I didn't even tell them. I was just like, it happened. I remember the situation. I'm not gonna go into detail because it's a story. But like, I remember that day. I was just like, you know what? It's not that I couldn't do it. It's I didn't want to do it. Exactly. I didn't feel the need to do it. And I told you, I fixed phones, I did all this. I started coding at the age of 11 and all of this, but I always saw it as a hobby, you know, it's just something. My mom would always be like, siempre está su computadora. But she wouldn't say she's playing video games, right? Okay. No, I was just there learning how to program, playing around. And my mom always saw it as just like a hobby, right? Exactly. Just something he likes to do, and which is why I never did computer science. I had, I don't call them professors, teachers, a teacher in high school. Once you've been in college so long, you forget that they're not doctors. They're just listeners, you know? He was just like, Andrew, you should do engineering. You should be a computer science. And I was just like, I don't know. I want to be a doctor. I want to make that. I want to make bank. And then I found out they don't make bank. And I was just like, then I really don't want to do it. Because, I mean, I'm just like, you're telling me I have to spend 4 years of my degree for my life getting an undergrad degree that has nothing to do with med school. I mean, you might learn a little bit, a little pizzazz. And then another 4 years, and then another 4 years before I could spend and be an actual general surgeon like I wanted to be. Right? And
still then, you would have to go through residency.
A residency and all that, being minimum wage, right? So, and that's what happened because I felt down, and then, you know, it's those late nights where you're up Googling, and then that's when I found out what being a software engineer was. And I said, wow, they make a lot of money. Straight out of it. And even now I see the opportunities that came. And when I did that switch, I convinced myself that night, all right, this is my calling. This is what I do. And I go into my first CS class, easy. My second CS class, easy. And then I realized from there, it just kept on getting easier. And that's when I found out, I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what makes me happy. And coding always made me smile, but that became an opportunity. And then when my mom asked me, she's just, oh, you're doing the computer. Because to her, she's just like, I have tios who lived in DF, and my dad lived in the DF for a while. He's not Chileno, but he is.
He lived there.
He lived there for a bit. We're from Hidalgo, by the way, guys. I'm from Hidalgo, the great state. And the way that they are, my mom just thought it was just like, oh, you're just going to be a technician, right? The same idea how we think about mechanical engineers or mechanics, right?
Yeah.
That's what my mom thought it was for the longest until she started seeing my career grow, skyrocket. She was just like, wow, you're telling me companies want you back, left, and right. And this is where it broke down into like what I am now as SGA president. Was it started to open the idea that I had all this business expertise from my dad's business, getting quotes, going out and doing those estimates, all that business, being able to communicate well, all those skills tied in, but I didn't realize that I had them. And if it wasn't for me deciding to go and change and being a little bit sad, a little bit glum, I mean, I had the opportunity to be in college one regular semester, one. And when we hit COVID, it just absolutely, demolished my sense of who I was.
Yeah.
And then once I hit that, and I was just like, Mom, I'm not just a regular technician. I am the technician, the engineer that makes the software that the technician uses. It took her a while. I think now she's just realizing. For those who don't know, I work at ALSAC, and I work as an operation analyst / software engineer. And now she's just like, oh, wow, my son actually does things. And like, I've been on the news and stuff, and she's just like, oh, okay. But it came from that background. Like, she really didn't understand. And I feel like a lot of first generation students go with this is that they don't understand exactly what they're doing. And I had a speech with our Dreamer community, and then saying a lot of things that we do, all they are able to tell us because they don't know how it works. Es ponerte las pilas. That's all they can say. And I'm just as guilty as that. My mom would see it, my dad, and we have many arguments. And I'm just like, you're talking all this smack, but do my homework. Come do differential equations with me. Yeah. And part of you, like, and I think about it, and like, part of me is just like, wow, man, that's a terrible move to do to your dad. But like, you get frustrated because they don't understand where you're coming from. And you have to be able to manage not only as a commuter, because I would drive back, I live here in Memphis, I was raised here in Memphis, I've never lived somewhere else other than this area. You have to manage their expectations,
of course,
how they think school works, because to keep in mind, there are a couple, even though they're Gen X or back in the homeland, they think like boomers, so they don't think like Gen X. They're like, my parents are very old school, old style. They make me write things with pen and paper, nice handwriting and everything, right?
Same here.
But it comes from that old mindset.
Exactly.
And learning to overcome that with my parents is the struggle. And I feel like a lot of first gen, you're just starting off.
I'm still struggling with that.
And I'm telling you, and are you a commuter or do you stay on campus?
I stay on campus.
That's another, like, a different viewpoint that I didn't get to experience. But coming home every freshman year, man, it was a weird experience. And I'll tell you, the arguments, the fights.
Me.
Yeah.
Me. Like, my mom thinks it's from 8 to 3.
Yeah, they think it's
and
like
I'm like,
public school.
I'm sorry, Mom, but like, this is totally different. Like, this is not high school.
No, and I think college just goes beyond just meetings and stuff. Because for me, the meetings part, the communications part, for me, I separate that from work, school, and family life, right?
Well,
That's like the goal. You should always categorize the things you're doing. And actually, in computer science, that's your whole goal. That as computer science is you have to separate these things.
Right.
But what I found out, like, the biggest thing that helped me manage it was networking. Knowing that you could, and it's funny, you're just like, why networking? And when you're an immigrant or a first generation, you're like, oh, I can do this by myself. I don't need nobody. Mm-hmm. No, in college, that's when I had that wall breakthrough, right? And I found that maybe if I talk to this person and I talk to that person, and you build authentic relationships, not, there's a lot of people who network, but they, just to use them. Yeah. But you build authentic relationships. you're able not only to learn from them,
Exactly.
they're also to help you back. So one of the best things I've learned in college was that the people around me who I surround myself with make me a better person. So I have my boys who I hang out with, and I love them to death. If it wasn't for them, I feel like I wouldn't be as successful as I am now. Even my boys, my friendships before that, they were the ones who motivated me and told me, hey, do this opportunity. I remember my first big breakthrough was Google SPS. So I was working directly with Google. But man, when I tell you, I felt glum. It brought me down. But my second work experience, which wasn't as big, was the one that built more credibility, more foundation to who I am as a software engineer.
Yeah.
And that was only possible because of a friend I had. And knowing who she was and her teaching me who I wanted to be helped me become a better person. And then it slowly just became there. I'm gonna talk to this person. Even now, my mentor, if it wasn't for me networking, my mentor Gerardo, shout out Gerardo Reyes, he was the one who taught me about the power of talking. If I talk to somebody, just because I don't have the answer doesn't mean the person right next to me doesn't have the answer.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's just the simple idea of just asking. And that's how you're able to manage it.
I have a similar story. The person that has actually built me up and just lifted me in the major that I have chosen is my brother. And you're probably thinking, how the heck is a 15-year-old guy cheering on his sister? It just goes deep into, he has been there from day one.
It's always the day one.
Elizabeth, you got this. You chose the right major. I saw the sad and depressed person you became when you went into natural science. And now I see you. You got this big smile on your face that I've never seen in my life. He's like, look, I need you to do something for me. I was like, what's up? He was like, go. He was looking through my emails, which that's a little
toxic. A little toxic.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, that's a little toxic, but okay. He was like, I saw that you got an email from the NICE internship. I was like, yeah, I've been considering it. I want to. This was sophomore before my sophomore, or this was the summer before my sophomore year. And I was like, yeah, I was thinking about it. He was like, go, do it now. I want you to apply right now. So he's like standing right there, and I'm like, typing away on my computer. And 2 weeks later, it's like, congratulations, you got an interview. And I was like, the heck? So obviously I had to run and go to tell my brother, and I was like, look at this, look what I can do.
Shout out to the NICE program, man.
Honestly.
You gotta try it out. And my story started with the NICE program too. I would say my brother is he's my biggest hater, but my biggest supporter.
There
right?
it is.
He critiques everything I do,
Yes.
but those critiques are crucial, right?
Oh my gosh.
You can't just have people who just pat you on the back all the time. Obviously, especially in our culture, that's not. Siempre te dicen, mijo. No, my family's backwards. They'll be like, man, do it again. Do it better.
No, especially when they use your insecurities.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And you're just like, But my story is exactly the same with the NICE program. And for those who don't know, NICE program is a nonprofit outreach that we do here at CBU. It comes out every spring. And I remember that night it was me and her, we were on Discord. And she was just like, let's just do it. I don't know, LOL. And I was just like, bro, I got Google on my resume. Why do you need it, right?
Exactly.
I don't need it. I'll get hired somewhere else. She's like, just do it. And I was just like, all right. Literally, it's 4 a.m. in the morning. We're typing up. I'm like, my resume looks awesome. But she's like, do it again. I was just so I'm editing it. And I submit it. And then from there, your life changes,
Oh my gosh, yes.
From that moment afterwards, and keep in mind, I had I wouldn't say it was the most amazing internship so far. It's gonna be a little bit difficult since it's on camera. I love all my internships equally, but
this is the only internship I've had though. So.
Yeah, for me, I'm also an intern at Alsac, but when I worked with the police department, it also molded me into who I became. Being level-headed.
Look.
Because you got to learn how to talk to people.
You see, I'm that friend. I'm the friend that will always be supporting you.
Uh-huh.
I am that person.
We need those. We need those people in our lives.
Yeah, because my friend, one of them, he's a very good one. Shout out to AJ, by the way. But anyway, he's a very good friend that I have. Him and my other friend Brian. Brian is like my supporter. Like he's always there telling me do this or this or this. Well, I'm that guy with AJ. I'm telling him, do this. You could be applying to this, and you can do this. I'm that type of person. Even to anyone I meet, or to anyone I talk to for like 10 minutes, or they tell me their problems. I don't know why, but some people do tell me their problems, and I'm like, well, we can do this to help this out, or I know about this interview, you can get that.
Yeah.
In fact, for my roommates that I deal with them sometimes. They needed a job, so I said, well, look, I'm like the father, you could say, because I'm el papá de los pollitos. But I'm like that, so I say, look, I can talk to her, maybe she can give you a job while you're here, since you're really far away. And I remember I was at Target one day, and he needed a shirt, one of those white shirts, because it was on a caterer. And so I said, look at this shirt, this good features. I took a picture on him and sent it to him.
Yeah.
And I paid for it, no big deal, no whatever, but, I was trying to be that nice person because I'm that friend. I'm the friend that will always support you and lead you to better steps.
Oh, yeah.
No, and I mean, and that goes far. And like, even now as a senior, right, a big thing that we have is senioritis, right? But it's not as big as I would say as high school. Because, and I say it probably depends on your major too, right? For the Dream.us scholarship, we have to graduate within 4 years. That's our requirement. And for me, I worked my butt off in high school, so I had credits coming in college, which eased the load. Well, but I am a STEM major, and I'm also interdisciplinary, right? So I still completed my biology, and we as a computer science, you have to choose a concentration. And mine, the one that I chose was electrical engineering. So, math, not a lot of math, and then computer science is just its own ball game of its own.
Kudos to you. Could not be me.
Well, I mean,
could not be me.
And it comes up to now because senioritis. I mean, I had a little situation earlier today. I was just like, oh, bro, this is a level 200 course, man. Everything else is level 400. Why should I care about this course? But then I remember my homies, they're all stressing right now because of our senior project. I'm stressing. I sleep like 3 hours a day because of my project. So in college, for me, senioritis is just like, I feel like it's non-existent, but that's just because my major doesn't allow it to be existent, right? Because for me to graduate, if that project isn't fire, next level stuff, I'm not getting my degree. I'm not walking. It doesn't matter with all the credits I get, I'm not walking. So, but it's just, I think it's just it's accepting about what's to come too. Because I had, like I said, my friend, my mentor, Gerardo, he is now entering that part of life. The part of life that I was already used to, because my older brother didn't go to college. So I saw the second part where, you don't talk to your high school friends. You don't talk to those people you would see every day anymore, right? It's also me trying to realize that as a senior, this is really my last year. Make the most of it, right? And I mean, there's like a big elephant in the room when it comes to college too. It's partying, right? Especially here at TVU, right? Where we are a very social group. And for me, I've also started to I'm also doing my career. I'm managing this. I'm also SGA president, so I'm constantly talking to people. But I've also learned to step back a little bit, enjoy it, because these moments that you spend now are going to be forever, Your career, you have years to build upon it. And a lot of people in the corporate world, they always tell me, take your time, take a breather, but enjoy it. And it's bad. It sounds like bad advice telling me to go party, right? I'm not saying go party every night, but if it comes to those situations, and you will, and I mean, you're just starting off college, but there'll be situations where they're just like, bro, you gotta come, man. You gotta go, and you'll feel it in your gut. It's just like, maybe I should go. Maybe I should finish it. And I think those were some of my best nights that I remember. Just being out with the boys, late nights,
Playing some Bad Bunny in the background.
I love my Bad Bunny, but it's just that environment. I mean, parties could be anything. We go from frat parties, right? Or just parties with your boys. We do have a saying, we have our idea of pedas, but
is it okay if I party by myself with my headphones in my room?
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't think that's a very good party, but
if you feel unstressed and you feel calm and easy with yourself, go for it.
Yeah. I mean, but for me, I feel like that's something, learning to live and enjoy a life just a little bit, just it's something you don't really consider until you're about to graduate. I think that's the real senioritis, is realizing that life is short. There on my Instagram, I have a saying, it's just like, the average lifespan is 72 years. Why not take risks? Why not just go for it, right? But obviously, keep your grades up. Obviously, I mean, you are an adult, so time management is an essential adult skill that you got to master. But for me, it's just like, I don't know about how you guys feel about it. You guys grew up in COVID, and I mean, I had one semester without COVID, but I didn't party that semester. I literally stuck to my books, which is why I have a lot of free time now, and it helped me out a lot in college. Is I was just able to grind everything out in the beginning, and now I'm just like letting go off the gas, just cruising down with the windows down. That's the point I have. And as a senior and you're a freshman, I recommend you to do that. You work hard these couple of years, man. Obviously, know your workload. If you can handle 15 or if you can handle 18. I mean, I'm one of those students who can handle 18. I took my 18 credit hours all first 2 years back to back, and I grinded them out. And enjoying the fruits of your labor, man. That really like is what helped me throughout of college. It's just that I was just like, finally. You know, I have friends who are just like, they're still doing 18 credit hours. And I have one of my closest friends, she is just now, she's doing 12 hours now. And I remember sophomore year when I met her, she was stressed. She's just like, how am I going to get this done?
My phone went off. Hold on, you're going to repeat that part again? I just did not know I have a camera. I'm even alert right now. Let's see, hold on.
There you go.
Yeah, I think we're good. All right, there we go.
All right. Yeah, she's just now enjoying those her fruits of her labor as well, because she did the opposite. She enjoyed her first year, right? But then she said she pumped it up, bro. She literally did that, and she worked her sophomore and junior year, studied late nights, did all her work, and managed her social life as well. And now she's doing 12 credit hours. Next semester, I think she only has to do 10, but to maintain your scholarship, you got to be a full-time student. So it's all about time management, knowing who you are as a person, and also knowing what your limits are. I feel like that's a good thing to know about yourself.
That's a good thing. I would like to add some things at the bottom. So I don't know if y'all noticed, but I've been kind of keeping low key this whole time, and that's good. I think Edgar, the perspective that you're giving us is incredible, because obviously you're upper class, so you're like a teacher right now, and I really appreciate you taking.
Don't make me feel old, man.
You're the father of this conversation.
Oh no!
But I would like to add. So for y'all said y'all are very stubborn. I'm the complete opposite of basically all of y'all. So I am incredibly indecisive, and every time I take a decision, I think I make the wrong decision.
I would
that's
be
me.
stressed out of my mind.
Oh, trust me, I am stressed. But I think definitely getting the perspective from someone who isn't like me. So y'all are the opposite. Y'all have like this way of working things out. And I try my best to implement how other people be working, and I think it's good that I was here to hear y'all out, so I could tap into that mentality, because I'm incredibly indecisive, always been indecisive, so definitely trying to change that. So I feel like there's so much I could be doing, and I'm like, I'm this midpoint right now where I need to build up to it.
And and it's good that you say that, because as president, one of the biggest unwritten roles that I have to do is that I'm talking constantly. To loads of people, freshmen, alum, and they always talk about that, being undecisive, right? I don't know what I'm going to do. Is this the right move? Especially the freshman year, they're like, I really don't like what I'm studying. And that's very common. It's a common feeling to anybody who's a prospective student or a freshman right now. They're like, I don't really feel like I'm doing. What changed that from that step from being undecisive to decisive is having the mentality of just do it, the Nike mentality.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because if you just do it, you think of I'll handle the what's gonna come, right? I'm one of those people who's just obviously I'm a little bit more sound. I rationalize my thoughts, but you can't rationalize your thoughts unless you just act upon it, right? There's a big thing that I like to talk about in our SGA is you can talk the talk, but walking the walk is different, right? So being indecisive is one of your greatest, you might think is your greatest weakness, but I feel like it's a great strength, right? Because you're constantly thinking about scenarios of what may or may not happen, right? Is this the right thing? Am I gonna succeed, or is this gonna be the root cause of my failure?
Yes.
But that's life, man. Life works like that. You don't just wake up and become successful. You make mistakes. You make errors. And the only common outcome, the Venn diagram, the thing in the middle, is just doing it. Because you can't change the past, but you can affect the future, right? You can change the future. Just because what you did yesterday doesn't mean it's going to be the same outcome tomorrow. So, I mean, I feel like being anxious, man, I feel it's just like a great indicator of who you can become. Because once you just start acting on it, you'll be able to do anything. Literally, the freaking world becomes your oyster. It becomes your blank canvas. And when I learned that a long time ago. I mean, I remember, man, I have a lot of friends in my life who just impacted. And it's just because I was able to listen to them and be like, okay, let me do that, right? And I remember it was 7th grade, and she's just like, Edgar, stop worrying about what your mom and your dad and they're doing. And a couple people with that same mentality came up to me and told me that. Even recently, like my junior year of college, they're just like, just do you. And it's a hard process, but once I learned to do that, it took me far. And I'm not afraid of who I am as a person now, just because of the fact that I just know tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow I can start again. Tomorrow I could apologize. I could fix the errors of yesterday and begin anew. And I honestly, I mean, it just shows that you're just waiting to burst, man. Derek,
I hope so, man.
we all hope so, but it's all about the reality, bro. So I think with anybody, especially you now coming into college, you really want to take that into consideration. But you want to be like, is this really who I am? Is this really what I want to do? Is this? And I mean, even you're gonna be like, bro, no, I'm confident who I am. But I'm telling you, I was one of the most stubborn biology majors, and I was just like, you know what? I don't like that. No me importa. No, neta. And I always say that, neta. This ain't for me, right? And accepting that neta, it goes very far. I mean, it's all about saying yes to what the universe calls and tells you to do.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Justine. Thank you, Edgar, for your time. You guys were incredible. Thank you for coming to the Cena podcast. It was a pleasure to talk with y'all about being a first-generation student. I hope that we can continue to have interesting conversations like this one on the Cena podcast. All right, and to the viewers, if you thought today's conversation was interesting, please go and follow the Hispanic Student Association Instagram at CBUHSA to stay updated on the events, on the meetings, and the releases of this amazing podcast. So check out our form in the description where you can recommend upcoming topics. And if you want to be a guest like Edgar and Justin here, please let us know. All right, thank you so much, all. All right.